can study the anomalous behavior of water. We know that almost all liquids expands on heating and contracts on cooling. Okay, so in general liquids show volume expansion with increasing temperature, but water is an exception to this rule. Water exhibits an anomalous behavior, that is, it contracts on heating from 0 degrees Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius. So water, when it is heated, 0 degrees Celsius water, when it is heated up to 4 degrees Celsius, what happens? It contracts. Instead of expansion, it shows contraction. The volume of the given amount of water decreases as it is cooled from room temperature until its temperature reaches 4 degrees Celsius. So when water is cooled from when water is heated from 0 degrees Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius, what happens? Volume decreases or density increases. Okay children, so normally all materials, all liquid expands on heating and contracts on cooling, but when water is heated from 0 degrees Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius, what happens? Volume decreases and density increases. So if you see the graph, if a graph is plotted with temperature along the x-axis and volume of 1 kilogram of water, that is expressed in 10 raised to minus 3 meter cube. Here the values should be multiplied by 10 raised to minus 3 meter cube. Okay, let this value, this is 1, here it is 1.00013, here the value is 1.04343, etc. So volume of 1 kilogram of water is plotted along the y-axis and the temperature is plotted along the x-axis. Here 1, 2, 3, this is 4 degrees Celsius, and here this represents 5 degrees Celsius. Here 10 degrees Celsius, 100 degrees Celsius, etc. Okay. Now, if a graph is plotted with temperature along the x-axis and volume along the y-axis, volume of 1 kilogram of water along the y-axis, we can see if a graph is plotted, what happens as temperature increases from 0 degrees Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius, what happens? Volume decreases like this. Okay, so it shows minimum volume of 1 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter cube at what temperature? At 4 degrees Celsius. This corresponding to 4 degrees Celsius. So at 4 degrees Celsius volume is minimum, and after that as temperature increases, what happens? Volume increases. Okay, as temperature increases up to 100 degrees Celsius, volume also increases. Clear children? So as water is heated from 0 degrees Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius, volume decreases to a minimum value at 4 degrees Celsius. Minimum value is 1 into 10 raised to minus 3. And after that as temperature increases, what happens? Volume increases. It shows volume expansion after 4 degrees Celsius. Clear? Similarly, if a graph is plotted with density along the y-axis and temperature is plotted along the x-axis, here again this is 0 degrees Celsius, 1, 2, 3, 4. This corresponds to 4 degrees Celsius and this is 5 degrees Celsius. Okay, so if a graph is plotted with temperature and density, what happens? Volume decreases, that means density increases. Okay, so density increases, and at 4 degrees Celsius, density is maximum, that is 1000 kilogram per meter cube. So water shows maximum density at 4 degrees Celsius. And what happens afterwards as temperature increases? Density decreases like this. Clear? So here in the case of water, if water is heated from 0 degrees Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius, volume decreases and density increases, and after that it shows normal volume expansion, similar to different type of liquids. Okay, so this is the anomalous behavior shown by water. Thus, water shows maximum density at 4 degrees Celsius. Here, for water, maximum density is shown at 4 degrees Celsius. So, this corresponds to 4 degrees Celsius. So, it shows maximum density of 1000 at what temperature? At 4 degrees Celsius. Clear? So, water shows maximum density of 4 degrees Celsius, and this unusual behavior of thermal expansion of water is called anomalous behavior of water. So, thus water shows the anomalous behavior, and the reason behind the anomalous behavior shown by water is due to the polarity of water molecule. Water is considered to be a polar substance, and water molecules are associated by hydrogen bonding. Because of the hydrogen bonding, water shows this anomalous behavior. Now, the anomalous behavior of water has an important environmental effect. In very cold winter season, bodies of water such as ponds, lakes, etc. freeze at the top first. Okay, so here in polar countries, what happens, the top layer of water bodies get converted to ice, they get freeze. But what happens to the bottom level remains in which state? Liquid state, so that it protects marine plants and animals. So that is the main environmental effect of anomalous behavior of water. So that is in very cold winter season, bodies of water such as ponds, lakes, etc. freeze at the top first. When the temperature falls, top layer of water contracts, become denser and sinks to the bottom. So when temperature decreases from 10 degrees Celsius down, what happens? The top layer of water contracts. So when temperature decreases from 10 downward, what happens? Volume decreases. Okay, now here in the case of water, volume decreases, become denser and sinks to the bottom. But if the temperature falls below 4 degrees Celsius, we know that when the temperature decreases below 4 degrees Celsius, volume increases, it expands, isn't it? That is anomalous behavior. So below 4 degrees Celsius, what happens? Volume increases, so top layer of water expands, become less denser and remains at the surface. So when the temperature decreases below 4 degrees Celsius, volume increases, it shows expansion, become less denser and remains at the surface, because density is comparatively less. So from 4 degrees Celsius down, volume increases and density decreases, and hence it remains there as ice, which is less denser than water. So when the temperature is below 4 degrees Celsius, top layer of water freeze and it get converted to ice, and since ice is less dense than water, it remains there. Thus the surface of water bodies continues to freeze, but the water near the bottom remains at 4 degrees Celsius. So top layer of water bodies get converted to ice, it get freeze and converted to ice, but bottom layer remains at 4 degrees Celsius, which is in the liquid state, and hence fishes and other water life survive below the ice. Okay, so thus because of this anomalous behavior, marine plants and animals can survive in water bodies even in the very cold climate. If water did not have this property, lakes and water bodies would freeze from the bottom up, which would destroy marine plants and animals. So if water did not have this anomalous behavior, the whole water bodies would freeze from bottom to top, and which would destroy marine plants and animals. So that is the importance of anomalous behavior, and it has an important environmental effect.